So, put down that plate of mushroom pasta, Marie, I'm looking at you. Grab your guitar and join us for a merry old sing-along through Cordyceps blighted Seattle as we delve into all the spoilers for Season 2 of The Last of Us. I'm your host Neil, and I'm joined on my quest for revenge by the always vengeful Marie, who I have absolutely no doubt would go full Abby on someone with a golf club if they didn't recycle. How's it going, Marie?
That paints a graphic and accurate image of me.
Oh, you haven't heard David's yet?
It wouldn't be a golf club. It would be a brick. That's my weapon.
A sustainable brick.
Exactly. It's the most sustainable weapon there is.
And I'm joined as well by the duplicitous David, who would definitely go full pipe down on someone if he didn't get to bed at a reasonable hour. We know you need your beauty sleep, David.
And he definitely knows what duplicitous means.
Duplicitous.
He couldn't even say the word. Yeah, that's a word I know.
And I was going to say we are joined by our ray of sunshine from the Sunshine State, but Jose hasn't seen the show, so he's not here. And let's be honest, if Jose was in the Last of Us world, he'd probably be already dead and a shambling infected corpse somewhere. It's just, sorry, he's just too nice to survive the apocalypse, right? He's just too nice. So first of all, let's give our initial reactions and what we basically thought of the season overall. Marie, what did you think?
I love the show, and I honestly do think season 2 was a lot more scarier than season 1. I feel like I got through season 1 a lot more easier. And then season 2, there were generally moments where I had to pause and grab emotional support donuts and was messaging you guys going like, I'm watching this from behind the couch. I can't handle it. Yeah, I love the show. And as someone who's never played the games and isn't like an overall horror fan, it's still like, it shows how it transcends genres. And then just aesthetic wise for me, I love overgrown cities. I love cities taken over by nature. I just love that setting so much, to the point that when season 1 was coming out, I actually tricked the fashion brand that I was working for basically making that as their theme. And it was like I had Last of Us images on the mood board, and they'd never seen the show, so they had no idea that their final collection was actually inspired by The Last of Us. But that is just my aesthetic. I love that. But yeah, I still really enjoyed this season.
David?
Yeah, I also very much enjoyed the season. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first season, which is weird because I've played the games as well, and I preferred the second game to the first game, but I preferred the first season here to this. This is only one half of, or one third maybe, of the game, of the second game, but I preferred the first game for the second game to the first game, and the first season to the second season. I got my words out there.
Excellent words, David.
Thank you.
Yeah, for me, I'm pretty much, but I've never played the games, but I'm with you in that I don't think the second season is as strong as the first season. But that said, it's still a really, really good series of TV. It's still like really up there. I think it's just that where season 1 was like at the top of everyone's best of year lists, this one isn't quite there for me. That brings us to the good, the bad, and the what the fuck from The Last of Us Season 2. Starting off with the good, David.
I loved Isabella Merced. Is that her name?
Merced.
Isabella Merced as Dina. I much preferred her character in the show to her character in the game. I felt like she had like a real excitement and joy and energy about it. She seemed like the sort of friend that you just want to be friends with, you know? I feel like everybody could do with a little Dina in their life. She was there for you. She supported you. She was funny.
She was a badass.
She was a badass, yeah.
Capable.
I absolutely agree, David. She was a superb new addition to the show, and what a change it is in this type of show to have a really smart, capable character in it, and not just be. Usually, when you have like the main characters, like new love interest, they're always needing to be saved by the main character in these type of shows. And how good is it that she's immediately supports Ellie and everything? She's the planner. She's in a lot of ways a lot better than Ellie.
Ellie would have died like 5 times, like if Dina hadn't been there. Like...
As I was watching, I was just like, I so much prefer Dina to Ellie in this show, and yet they're supposed to be around the same age. They're both supposed to be from, she's just so damn likable. And it did make me laugh, and not in a good way, when that bit where Ellie goes, "I'm going to be a dad," and I was like, no.
That was so cute. That was
cheesy.
adorable. No, I love that moment so much.
I liked it. They are going to be a dad though, and it's cute.
So cute. That moment. That was so cute.
But what I also liked about Dina is she really developed a similar kind of father-daughter relationship with Joel when Ellie wasn't speaking to him as well. And yeah, that was just really well. I was just like, yeah, she was the best new character. Well, yeah, she is the best new character in the show, but there's other really good new characters as well. So we have to talk the standout episodes of the show, and I think there are two here. Episode 2, Through the Valley, which contains that scene and the Horde attack on Jackson, and then episode 6, The Price, which is the Joel and Eddie flashback bottle episode that retraces their deteriorating relationship over the last 5 years. So on to episode 2, Through the Valley, and the Horde attack, man. It felt like the Battle of Winterfell, except you could see what was going on, and it was just better.
Yeah. I mean, I after this was finished, I did message you guys like I aged by like 20 years. Like that episode was just high anxiety from start to finish. Like it did not let up because like you had the attack on Jackson, then you had the motherfuckers in the cabin. It's just like you had all these elements in play and you're just like you knew it was going to culminate into something. Like yeah, stress just I was so stressed watching that episode.
I wasn't as anxiety induced as Marie was, but that's
Well, because you
probably
watch
because
horror.
and
Yeah.
because I knew what was coming as well. Like the second Joel saves Abby, and you just know where that's going to lead to. And the attack, whilst it looked great, it also did kind of bug me a little bit, especially when Tommy was cornered by that one giant. It wasn't a what were they
Bloater.
called bloater. Was it a bloater?
I think it was a bloater.
The and it just eventually falls. It's like okay, I give up now. And I was a bit like, oh, which will come into some of my bads later. That sort of stuff happening consistently in this.
That apparently the Siege of Jackson wasn't in the games, David. So at least watching that scene, were you like, oh, I don't actually know what's going to happen here?
Yeah, I couldn't remember it, so that makes
Okay.
sense. But yeah, I at the same time I wasn't like what's I just felt like okay, this is happening. It wasn't like over. It didn't make me feel anything because I knew I wanted to. I was constantly wanting to get back to what was happening with Joel and Abby during those moments. I wasn't really invested so much in the siege so much. And again, it was where a lot of our characters, the characters involved in the siege, you also don't really care that much about. Tommy's there, Tommy's wife's there, Tommy's kid's there.
And there's other people.
Yeah,
For me, the anxiety inducing was because I'd never played the games. I genuinely thought that was the end of Jackson. Like I thought that was it, and then like Ellie would have lost Joel and then come back to rubble and nothing. Like I genuinely, for me, that was the stakes. I was watching this and I was just like, how the fuck are they gonna get out of this? Because it was just never ending. But one thing I also really appreciated about this is that the characters were smart. I think this is one of the reasons why I can't watch horror movies because every character in a horror movie is just so unbelievably stupid. And in this one, it's just like they even had their meeting, they had their preparation, they had their plan B, they were on guard because they already saw the affected and they knew something was coming. Like they were actually smart and prepared, which also then makes sense of them actually surviving it. Even though Jackson looked like a safe place, they've never became complicit, which I really liked about it. I also had another point, but now I completely forgot it. It will come to me.
It's the cordyceps.
It's the cordyceps. I'm infected. It also had me Googling how long mushrooms can survive under snow. David, I'm just curious if did the raid not happen on Jackson? Just like how did Joel get to the cabin if that didn't
I
happen?
honestly can't remember how they
Okay,
got there.
people in
And
the comments, let us know.
I think yeah, I know he gets to so he gets it's the same way. He saves Abby, and then Abby's like, "Oh, I've got some mates that are held up here. Let's go here." So it's the same thing there, and he's with Tommy. He's not with Dina in the game. I know that much. So Dina's with Ellie and the other guy, Jesse, in the games, and yeah, and he's with Tommy in the cabin, which is quite a big deal actually, because Tommy's motivation and everything is completely different in the show compared to the game. He's the main person that goes to kill Abby before Ellie even leaves with Dina.
Well, that makes sense because he was there seeing it, so he was almost in the same position. But obviously, yeah, it's completely different in the way it kind of
Tommy's a lot more vengeful in the games.
I just wanted to say I understand that change for the show just because like Ellie is already a quite hot-headed character, so having like multiple hot-headed characters might like be like well, everyone's stupid, basically. That's a thing, like just like no one's seeing reason. So I understand why they would make that change in the show.
Yeah, I think it's also quite an easy writing change to make
Mhm.
as well. It's not something that's going to break anything later on
Mhm.
of how the story goes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
We're still on the good. And one person I want to shout out who's a new addition to the cast is Catherine O'Hara's really cannot give a fuck psychiatrist, Gail. She was such a great addition. And what I liked is, why is she just being such a dick to Joel? And then we find out why she's being such a dick to Joel later on. Because we find out that Joel kills her husband, played by Joe Pantoliano from The Matrix. And apparently, here's a fun fact for you, Jose. Oh, Jose's not here for his fun facts. So there's a fun fact that originally in Ellie's room, they was going to have a Matrix poster up in it, but they couldn't because the poster they wanted to put up had Joey Pantoliano in it, who's also in the actual show as a character. I think they could have probably got away with it, though. Probably would have just cost too much money. But hey, Joey Pants. Joe kills Joey Pants, and of course, Ellie then exposes his lie about it to Gail, which then explains Gail's behavior. But I just love, she's just so. I tell you, Catherine O'Hara, post Schitt's Creek, is having a hell of a career now. She's not only in this, she's also one of the leads in The Studio on Apple TV Plus as well. And she's like the former studio head. She's just absolutely getting all the best roles in a minute, and quite rightly, as she should. Catherine O'Hara.
I loved her, especially in episode one. I think she was generally the standout in episode one. I knew, of course, she could play more serious roles, but of course, after Schitt's Creek, I've got like Moira Rose in my head, like that over dramatic, over pronunciation character, which she kind of brought back for the Beetlejuice sequel because she wasn't really doing anything different there. So having her play something completely different and something completely serious, it was like in a way a change for me. And it, yeah, I loved her. She was so good in like we actually got a little too little of her, but in the episodes that she was in, she was just shining. And I honestly don't think I would call her like not giving a fuck psychiatrist, because she is still generally trying to help
Doing her
Joe.
job. Yeah.
Like she's still trying to help Joel in the like in the mad world that they're in the mad like cordyceps world that they're finding themselves in, because she is also the only therapist in Jackson. So she, not only that, she has like a host of like fucked up people to care for, and like it's not really normal problems anymore. I mean, it's more like, yeah, my partner turned into a giant mushroom and tried to eat me, like problems. Like, so it's not really the normal like things that we associate with depression and anxiety.
For me, it's her like I can't be bothered to deal with the bullshit
Mm.
attitude. She's like, I ain't got time for this fluffing bullshit. Just get to the point. What's your issue? All right, this is how you fucking solve it. All right, next patient, please.
Yeah.
Like that's
No, she's very real for that, because like as someone who's in therapy, I do have like moments where I'm like trying to tiptoe things around, and like my therapist has patience with me, but yeah, like so I know I can be a bad patient and do that. So her just like saying cut the bullshit, I'm like that's really good.
So one thing I really wanted to like raise up, which I thought was one of the most powerful scenes in the whole series, was Ellie when she finally tracks down Nora and is just beating her to death to get information on where Abby is. And you just see Ellie basically becoming this like weapon of vengeance. And honestly, she's just as bad as Abby here. So, this is before she's even got to Abby. And I just love the fact that she could have killed. Sorry, I don't love the fact, but like the
I was about to
decision
say,
they
where are you going with this? We're in the
Yeah.
good section here.
the decision. No, it's just such a brilliant scene. It's such a like disturbing but brutal scene, and she could have killed her, and she doesn't, because when she realizes, oh, it's spores and she's immune, and she can quite happily breathe them away, and then Nora's just coughing away on the floor, and then she starts beating the crap out of her as well. But then she leaves her. She doesn't actually finish her off. Well, I think it's implied, isn't it, that she leaves her for the spores to finish her off? And that is a fate worse than death, right? Surely you'd rather be killed outright at that point than like be reanimated as whatever.
I love the moment where Abby's just standing there as a badass. Not Abby.
Ellie.
Ellie is just
The red
standing there
light.
like a badass with the light back there, and the other Nora's there like dying at her last breath, and she's just like, yeah, whatever, don't bother me. Immunity. I got that immunity. Yeah, I love that scene. Although you said that she's just as bad as Abby, she's worse.
Well, yeah,
Ellie's
arguably.
worse, and no, there's no argument about it. In my opinion, she's worse. Abby had been looking for Joel, who killed her dad for 5 years. right?
Yeah.
Or 4 years. At zero point in no time where she was looking for her, did she kill anybody else?
We haven't got hardly anything of Abby's story yet. That is the
I mean,
problem with.
you kind of do at this point. I don't
I
think you
don't think
need
so.
to
I don't
know
think
No,
it's
further.
enough.
I see what David is coming from because, it's like,
Yeah.
I mean, Ellie hasn't lost anyone else.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Abby hasn't killed anyone from their inner circle. Like, I
Yeah,
think that's
and
David's point. Like,
exactly,
for that,
exactly.
Abby hasn't killed anyone from
And
Jackson.
Ellie did not hesitate to kill somebody just to find out where Abby is. You know, their involvement with Joel, what was minimal, really. I mean, they were there, they helped, they were involved. You know, if it was like a courtroom, whatever, they go to jail for it. But in this isolated, specific incident, if you're comparing the two characters, Abby and Ellie's worse, in my opinion. Ellie's a lot more vengeful.
I know we're still in the good section, but like, just because we're talking about the scene, how the fuck did she get out? Am I the only one who's bothered by this?
In
Like,
and out. In
how
and
did
out,
she get
really.
out?
Oh yeah, because it bottom
Even
of the
if she,
shaft.
exactly, like, even if she is like immune to the spores, the infected still can rip her apart. So how did she get out? I'm sorry, that really bothered me.
That kind of thinking is going to come into the bad as well, Marie, for us. Right, so let's move on to
Take on me.
the take on me scene. Yes, which apparently, David, you can miss in the game quite easily if you don't go through a certain door.
I think it's like one of those scenes where if you go through that, she'll do it, and it was like interact with this, and it'll happen. Yeah.
Okay. Now, for me, as great as it was, and as good as Bella Ramsey was in this scene, for me, the best on-screen version of this song ever in media is the cover by Real Big Fish in the South Park Guys film Basketball. It just is. I'm sorry, Scarpunk Take on Me will beat that. Will beat the sad guitar version every day for me, and I will die on that hill.
I like it. I think a lot of people might have got annoyed by the amount of times that Ellie was just playing the guitar throughout.
It was twice.
Yeah, but I could see. Okay, my wife.
No,
was
I
gonna-
know,
I'm just
no,
gonna
she's
name
the
her.
only one because, like, after what I think it was episode 4, there was like a headline in the newspaper going "Last of Us, a musical," and I was
Yeah.
just like, There were 2 song seats. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. There were people were getting like a little frustrated with the fact that she was like there were quite a lot of runtime was given to her just sort of sitting there strumming the guitar or playing the guitar in some way, and I get it at this point. So trust me, at the end of the show, it will make sense.
I mean, for me, I mean, in context, it makes sense. I mean, I can see like why the take on me scene is so important because in my notes during that scene, I have in all caps, gay panic. Because you have that moment where Dina like realizes like she's in love with Ellie, and you could just see the gay panic in her eyes. And it's just like everyone who's queer has gone through that moment. So I love that scene so much.
Neil was saying that the scene where it's not a spoiler, this is it?
No,
Because
it's not.
it
I don't
happens in
think
the
it is.
show.
Yeah, it's in the show. You have seen
Yeah,
the scene.
you've seen the scene. So the scene where Ellie and Joel meet after the dance, and she does talk. We see that she does have that conversation with him.
In episode 6, The Price.
Mm-hmm.
That is a flashback scene, and it's one of the very last. It's literally the second to last scene that happens in the game. The importance of that conversation, and one of the best. Oh my god, Pedro Pascal's performance in that moment.
It is so good. But to be honest, like I actually had myself questioning if that scene actually happened. Like, was it real? And then or Ellie just made it up in her head, to just
These are very good questions that you're asking, Marie.
like to like basically calm her nerve because the moment when she was speaking to the therapist where she said like I wish I would have talked to him on the porch, but I didn't. But she could have just been lying to the therapist. Like part of me, like then I thought, oh no, this actually did happen because of the line. Like, I mean, I put this in the group chat. Theme of this episode: generational trauma, and the line like one day, like when you, I try to do my best. One day when you have kids, maybe you will try to do a little better. Like that, like quote from Joel's dad that then he passes on to Ellie. Like I don't know, that felt a little bit too profound for Ellie just to be making it up in her head. So then I thought, okay, that scene actually happened. But yeah, I was like up until like the last like minute, I was really questioning the reality of the scene. It was a fucking good scene, but I was just like, is this like just all in her head?
I think it did happen, but you're asking the right question in whether it did or not, because it is a question that you can ask, because is it just something to justify her what she's doing? Is it something that she wishes so much to have said to him at the last moment instead of ending it the way she did? But I think that it was sort of shown in the last look that they shared in the scene that we haven't yet spoke about. Um,
Right.
which is
So
hard to tiptoe around at this point, Neil.
we're not there yet. We're not yet, David. So also in episode 6, I loved the awkward middle-aged man comedy of Joel not realizing that Ellie is gay.
Neil,
Like,
you say that, but like when I was watching the scene, I was just like thinking of you during it. Like, because you are always so, like, I mean, Jose, to be honest, is just as bad, but you are so oblivious to gay subtext sometimes, and I had to literally spell it out to you. And it's just like, yeah, it's just the way Joel was just like, I'm very observant. I just, like, I could just picture you saying that.
no, but I mean, like the first time he literally says, "Oh, is there anyone you guys like? Yeah, anyone you got a crush on or something like that?" And she's like, "Oh, well, oh no, it's in her line. You don't have to worry about me getting pregnant."
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Of course," but he didn't pick up it on there. I did, but obviously we know this at this point. When we got to the end of episode 5 and we saw Joel walk into the room, he's like, "Oh, hey kiddo," and I was like, "Flashback. It's going to be a flashback episode next episode," and I was right. And it almost seemed to me from the makers like a deliberate attempt to mirror the success of season 1's Long, Long Time, the Bill and Frank episode, which shows you two people's relationship evolving over time in a kind of a like a bottle episode. Except in this one, it's Joe and Ellie, and they use a framing device of her birthday. And again, it's such a great performance by Ramsey here, as you really see the subtle difference they have from snarky teen to young woman over the course of the episode. I mean, I was cracking up when Joel walked in on them having sex, getting high, and getting a tattoo all at the same time. But what was the line like? He's like, "So you're just doing all the teenage stuff at the same time, right?" That was hilarious.
It was brilliant. And they were fooling around. They weren't having sex. This is what I mean with Joel, with you, Joel, not picking up on subtext. You're not picking up on queer subtext. But it was innocent enough.
They're just experimenting.
Not experimenting. Ellie pointed that out.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yes,
Take
Joel.
it back, David. They're just having fun.
Yeah, they didn't have. I mean, they didn't have time. Let's just say that. But no, that line was great, and Joel just like trying to raise a teenager is in a way like both hilarious and heartbreaking, because like he had that line with Dee now where it's just like his daughter died before she got to this age, and now suddenly like basically because like Ellie was around like just a few years older than his daughter when she died. So I'm not saying he's like picking up. That sounds really bad. Picking up where the other
Spare
one
daughters.
It's picking up where the other one stopped. You guys get what I mean? But it's like
That is exactly what's happening, though. Yeah.
yeah. But of course, it's like two completely different people.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, him trying to learn how to raise a teenager, which is very difficult. David, I will wish you good luck on that, raising a teenage girl. My parents were not that successful, but also just the obliviousness of it, because you know what's coming. He should have prepared himself. Like,
I think he's just making it up as it goes.
Yeah.
I think that's all parenthood is, though.
it is.
Like, I think the biggest con in parenthood, just ever, is you thinking that your parents have got everything fucking figured out.
No.
Every kid thinks their parents have got it figured out in some way at a certain age, and then you get to a certain age, and then you start to realize that they ain't. I'm living that now. Evelyn, she thinks I've got it all figured out. Well, at the moment, I'm like God to her, and then I'll just be like, yeah, I've got it all figured out, mate. I've got it all sorted.
You have terrible dad jokes already. You think how much worse they're going to be by the time she's able to understand them, and they won't be funny to her anymore.
Do you
What I'm
think
getting
that's
at, though,
what fatherhood is, Neil? Just saying terrible
dad
dad jokes.
Yeah.
From what David's told me, I believe that was it, and no sleep. Yeah.
What I'm getting at, though, is that Joel's just fucking figuring it out as it goes. He don't have a bloody clue what he's doing.
Yeah.
No one does really.
No.
You just hope for the best in a lot of circumstances. You try your best. He wants to be better than his dad. He's only got his dad to go off.
That's good, actually. That flows into my next point I had, which was the flashback scene to Joel's dad in episode 6. And he's that bit where I think he has a line like, "You're not going to hit him again." So we clearly know he has hit Tommy or Joel before. And then when Joel goes to sit down with him, and you're expecting that standard abusive father trope, and it doesn't go the way you think it's going to go. So that was quite different. It's when it's like, and Joey has that conversation with him about how he hopes he can be a better father than he is, and that he hopes he's a better father than his dad was, and that someday, and the way that through line plays through the whole season, especially with Ellie, and then when she finds out that Dina's pregnant as well, and of course that's like you say, it was just so beautifully done, that scene.
Generational trauma.
I think it's also true. It's sort of like an unsaid thing as well, because I want to be better than my dad, even though my dad was a great dad. I still want to be better than him.
But I think everyone
thinks.
I think to a way, everyone does that because of the times you grow up in and the times you live in are so different. So you just like, well, my parents did that. We definitely shouldn't do that. Again, probably get to you'll get to the age when, Evelyn's in her 20s and she's like, "Dad, no, you can't do that." And you're like, "But that was fine." And you're like, "Oh, wait, 30 years ago."
I can and I will.
It's my house.
Yeah.
If you don't like it. Now, of course, Marie, we saved it to last in a good section. Your favorite thing about the show is...
It's gay, which we already knew it was coming because it was clear from season 1 that Ellie was gay, but I still, of course, always love seeing queer romances on screen, and yeah, I just love that it was gay. And we had a queer female lead, which is also not often seen in action, and not just a queer female lead, 2 queer female leads, just them being badasses and also being gay.
So when they cast Caitlin Dever as Abby, and I was like, okay, well, we know Ellie's gay. They've cast she's like the new, they're making such a big deal about Ellie and Abby. There's all this stuff I hear about Ellie and Abby. So I thought they were going to be a couple as the show went on. Oh, they was going to get to that point. And then after episode 2, I was like, I am so wrong. Definitely not going to happen.
I was there, to be honest, too, because this was some sort of Mandela effect where I saw an image, like I thought I saw an image of Abby in Jackson at the New Year's Eve party. I didn't, but it was just in my brain that she was going to be there. So I was like very shocked as well.
Have you seen a picture of Abby in the game compared to Abby in the show?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Abby in the game, she's a lot more physically imposing.
Yeah.
Than Abby in the show. And she plays that way as well. So she plays more like Joel, and Ellie plays more like stealthily in the games. And they kind of flipped it a little bit in the show. I feel like Ellie's a little bit more, especially with the beginning, where she's going through all her training and stuff. I feel like Ellie's a little bit more physically stronger than Abby, even though we haven't seen a lot of Abby yet. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. But yeah, I feel like they flipped it a little bit.
I do actually appreciate that flip because it kind of shows that, like, a woman doesn't have to, like, a woman still can be scary and, like, fucking terrifying without looking like Brianna of Tarth. It's not just physical presence. So, like, when I saw change...
You mean Helen of Tarth, as Jose called her in Severance?
In Severance, yeah.
Helen of Tarth.
So, like, I have to say, like, yeah, I do. But however, this does cut into one of my bad points.
That's a perfect segue, Marie, because we are now on to the bad. What is your point?
The point is, and this is not a commentary on the show, it's the commentary of the fans. A lot of people wanted Caitlin Dever to play Ellie, and I get that because they do look extremely similar. Like, I actually thought she was the original mocap, and she did even audition to play Ellie, but they just thought she was too old. I think she was a good casting choice for Abby, bringing her into and still giving her the opportunity to be in the Last of Us world. But it has all the basement dwellers in an upset because they're like, oh no, like every time they like posted a photo together with Pedro Pascal, they were just like, no, she should have been Abby. And it just pissed me. And they were like, no, she should have been Ellie. And it just pissed me the fuck off because, like, even if you look young, at a certain point, you can't play a teenager anymore. And I don't know, how old is Ellie in the first one? 14? Like, and I think she was like 20 when she was auditioning for the role. Like, it just didn't make sense.
I mean, I was a little bit disappointed by how little Abby has been in this season, but also I know there's going to be a lot more to come because you don't cast an actress who's as absolutely shit hot good as Caitlin Dever. She's going to win all the awards someday. I'm telling you. She's
You love people winning awards.
I
You
like people
love
to
it.
get awards.
Everyone
David.
wins every award.
I'm surprised he didn't say this about episode 5 because I called that in the group chat.
No.
Pedro
Gonna win
Pascal
all the
deserves
awards.
all the
All the
awards.
awards.
Was that for episode 6 though?
Was it episode 6? How many episodes?
Six was the flashback.
Episode
7.
6. Then that's what I meant.
Yeah.
For episode 6, I did not feel like we didn't have enough of Abby. I genuinely really like this in like any series, like in a series of television, where there is like the quiet villain in the background. Like they're like they're there, they're gonna strike, and like when they do, shit is gonna hit their fan. And so it just has you on edge the entire time. And I think that's why I also felt like the final episode was so stressful because I honestly just like did not know. I was just like, they're building this person up and she's gonna pop up somewhere and I don't know where, and it's stressing me the fuck out.
One other thing that and it's a minor thing, and usually it's not something I pick up on this type of show, but I thought the CGI backgrounds, especially in the water scenes in the final episode, were really shoddy to me. Just like they're not.
Is it that one shot where she's like going across the screen like this?
Yeah, and it's like it literally looks almost like old style rear projection. You're like, oh, there's the water, and there's a little boat in front of it, and she's just in a tiny. And of course, we know they're not going to put Bella Ramsey out in the middle of the ocean, but she's definitely in a tank somewhere in a studio with about maybe this much, not a lot of clearance from her to the matte painting or whatever it is in the background. That's the only visual thing that I didn't like in the show. That's the only thing. For the rest of it, it looked superb. But I was just like, oh, come on, it looks so fake. And also, what was the point of that scene? Because she literally goes...
that's one of my bads as well. It's so pointless. What was the point of it? Well, oh no, I've been washed up on shore. I've been captured by the scars. Oh no, people are coming. Oh, okay, bye. Okay, I'm back to where I'm going again. Back in the boat. See you later. It's completely pointless. Just cut that scene. Cut it.
The point of that scene was to give me an anxiety attack. That was
it was so stupid. I was gonna say one of my bads, and it's on the gay thing, and it's so what Marie was saying, but it's not the fact that they're gay. It's the fact that how Dina found out that Ellie is immune is different to how it happens in the game, and I don't think it's better. So how it happens in the show is Dina's sort of trapped, isn't she, between the two? What's that thing called that turns?
I have no idea. A gate thingy-mabob?
A gate. She's trapped between the gate thingy-mabob and
spinning door elevator thing.
And Ellie puts her hand out, doesn't she, and gets bitten, so she saves her life. Yeah. But we already know that that's something that Ellie would do for Abby, because we know that that Ellie would do for Dina, because we know
she definitely would do it for Abby.
These names are way too similar, man. Like,
so we already know that that's something that Ellie would do for Dina, but we don't know that Dina would do that for Ellie. At that point in the relationship. But in the game, Ellie's masked, so they're in with all of the spores, and they've got gas masks on, and it's Ellie's mask that breaks. And Dina sees this and immediately goes to take off her own mask and give it to Ellie, so essentially sacrificing herself so that Ellie can live. And that I feel like that's a key change that the game does, because it shows immediately how Dina feels about Ellie, And I don't think that was very well established at that point in the story.
Yeah, the turning point in this show is the take on me scene, isn't it? When you see the way she's looking at her there, as Marie said, the activate gay panic mode.
I think that did happen before this.
It did. And, not picking up on Chris subtext. Sorry, I'm not calling you guys out, but I mean, to me, like leaving a safe environment and going to hunt down someone. Ellie is hot-headed. Obviously I understand why she would go after Abby. However, I'm with the people in Jackson. It doesn't make sense to reward violence with more violence. Even though like Dina had that connection with Joel, she's there because of Ellie. Like that's the only reason they're heading towards Seattle, because like she knows if she doesn't step in, Ellie is going to set off on her own and she's going to get killed. So for me, that's already like that sacrifice moment. I have though seen the scene in the game, and I do have to agree, like the tension is a lot more there in the show. It's also like more full on because like it's all the infected just coming at them, and like that moment doesn't get enough time to breathe. I think it's still quite clear that like Dina would die for Ellie at that moment.
But I suppose they didn't do it with the mask because you can't see the emotion on their faces, right? So that's probably another choice. One of the things where they changed it. We can't see their faces. No, change the scene. So when episode 1 starts and we've jumped forward all those years and we see that Joel and Ellie are barely on speaking terms, I was immediately like, okay, so she's clearly found out at some point what he did to the Fireflies to save her, and that's why they've had this big argument. And at some point this season, we'll find out when that argument took place. So I was like, it kind of set it up from day one for me. But I was like, but it was a little bit predictable. And then David, your counter is.
Yeah, but it's not meant to be unpredictable.
No, I mean she already knew. Like she knew at the end of season 1. Like there is that moment. She already knew. Like she already had that voice in her head going, this does not make sense. Like because Ellie is smart. So like that, because there is that pause where like at the end of season 1 where she's just like, swear to me. And he goes, I swear. And then the camera just ends on her. And you know she doesn't believe him.
Yeah.
So we know the why and we know the what. And Ellie knows the why. But we don't know the how at that point.
Yeah.
And that's what's interesting. And that's what draws you in. Because I think it's obvious. I think it's meant to be obvious. It's not meant to be unpredictable.
When people negatively compare this to The Walking Dead, it's for reasons which exactly they've done themselves here. Whereas, okay, I get it. Zombies they're there to be the inciting incident for the show, and then it's going to be a drama with that as a backdrop. But they get to it so quickly here. I just don't think they really, bar the Siege of Jackson, I don't really think they showed the regular infected as that dangerous anymore. Like, I remember in season 1, the library scene with the clicker and the tension of that scene and how they made such a big deal of being quiet because the clickers are activated by sound, and no other character seems to. That's just forgotten in this season. Like here, Ellie and Dina are just fully walking into unexplored buildings, chatting away at full volume, and there's never any clickers coming. And I was like, but it was that tension, and it's kind of like what you say with plot armor, David. Like I'm just like, oh well, nothing's going to happen to them because they're the main characters. But also, just I really didn't like how. The show has so quickly gone to zombies are just a backdrop. Here's a human drama. And I get that that's the whole point of doing the show is it's about the human drama and the human story. But also it's a zombie show, man. They set up the thing with the what's the new infected called, David?
The smarter, yeah, I don't know what it's called.
Stalker.
The Stalker. Right.
David, you're the ones who played the game.
I can't remember that. Like
David can't remember last week, Marie. It's a very sad problem. But no, they set up the Stalkers. It's evolved. This is a clever one. But nothing happens with that.
It's in 2 scenes, right? It comes back slightly later on, where again, there's a lot of plot armor in that scene as well.
I get where you guys are coming from, but to be honest, I kind of disagree with you that it's not plot armor, it's arrogance. It's just because Ellie is so unbelievably arrogant and like, but she does have plot armor and she sometimes forgets that people around her don't. And I think it's just overconfidence. I mean, the warehouse scene where they walk into the big rectangular thing with all the stalkers. I mean, like, let's face it, if Joel was there, they wouldn't have found themselves in that situation. Like, Joel would have immediately picked up on the fact that there's this one building, everyone seems to be avoiding it. There's probably a good reason for that. Let's stay far the fuck away from it. But I think that's more, and I think that more talks to his absence rather, that they're just like think that they're arrogant. And that's what you have with the first Dina and Ellie scene where they go into that other like store and where they first encountered a stalker, where everyone is just like, no, it doesn't make sense to go in. I mean, like, even if there are infected in there, currently it's not posing a big threat, and they're just like so desperate to basically prove themselves or just in a way even have fun.
But that's what I mean. Don't you think it makes the infected seem less dangerous?
I don't think it does makes them seem more stupid.
Oh
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's kind of the point of it, that because Ellie is so hot-headed and so just gets focused on one thing and does not think clearly around about situations and repercussions. I don't think it does break the rules that the show has set up.
But just something as simple as like the clickers. Like
Yeah,
there
yeah.
was
No,
so much given time given to in season one. You have to be really quiet, and that's just
Yeah,
absolutely forgotten in this
I
season.
agree with the both of you actually. So
Show you're working.
I agree with what Marie is saying, that
Well, it's kind of two
explaining
different points there,
the
isn't it?
reasons why they're getting into certain situations in the first place. However, the reasons why they're getting into certain situations doesn't really, there's still plot armor when they're in those situations because they're still getting out of these situations. I think the biggest one is that episode, the very near the end that we mentioned in the storm, where she gets captured by the scars and then it's just like they just leave. I mean,
yeah.
that's just,
But
I mean,
that's the scars. Like Neil is talking about the infected
that's
here.
just, yeah, but even like then when like Jesse saves her and there's just, it's, I don't remember, it obviously happened in the game, but I just don't remember it being as obvious.
It
Maybe
might not have happened in the game.
when you play something, maybe it just
Yeah,
seems
I
more,
mean, in the play, you're kind of, I mean, you're the plot armor. You're
yeah,
defending the
exactly.
character, so it's a different
So
mechanism.
when you're watching it, it does feel a lot more like, would come on, like would they have got out of that situation? But I agree with Marie in how they're getting into the situation. I also agree with Neil and how they're managing to, how bollocks it is that they're getting out of the situation. And I do think it does make the infected less of a threat. They're less scary. I think there wasn't really a scary scene this whole season with them in it. Like there wasn't a proper horror scene.
Well, I mean the not a horror side, but the siege of Jackson was like, oh holy shit,
Yeah, but
that was
even
probably the
was it
closest.
there? I don't think it was.
Yeah, but David, you watch some messed up fucking shit, man. Like, come on, you're immune to this shit. Like, what was that Spanish thing that you were watching the other day or something like that? I googled one image of that movie and I was haunted for life. Like, it's can't. But isn't that also just the nature of things? Like, let's just compare it. Like, the closest we've had to a pandemic, COVID. Like, yes, in the beginning, like 2020, 2021, COVID was really scary and everyone was wearing masks, was hunkered down. Like, I mean, I was
I get
developed.
your point. I see where you're going with this.
But like the more time we lived with it, like the more it just became something in the background. The more it came something just way of life. And I think like I get where you're coming from, like stakes, but I think it's also like after a while things kind of just merge into the background. And like COVID is still around now. We didn't eradicate it. There's still cases popping up, but we just don't hear about it anymore because like it's just become every day.
I would say all I needed to do to get me back on side was have one scene where, and it didn't have to be necessarily Ellie and Dina. They could have had someone else with them at some point, or just some characters walking in somewhere loudly and then just getting ripped to shit by them. That's all I wanted. Just one scene to prove that the clickers are still dangerous as fuck, and you should also be quiet. Be quiet.
Yeah, one of the bad points that I wanted to make was some of the vile stuff that Bella Ramsey was receiving online for just existing. Like
Yeah.
their image, people were mocking their image, people were mocking pretty much everything about them. Yeah, it was just really vile. And I don't really want to talk too much about it, aside from just to say that Bella Ramsey is an amazing actor, and there was just it was just it was just awful. Like the response to them online, yeah, it was awful.
As someone who hasn't played the games, for me that's Ellie. Like I understand like if you have a preconception of how a character's supposed to look like how that could influence it, but after a while you just have to grow a pair and just let go. I did that with Murderbot. You can do it with The Last of Us. Yeah, I agree with David. It's just the basement dwellers again. Like they can all get infected with cordyceps.
These people are just so fucking loud, and they just need to have their voices cut or the fingers
Yeah.
chopped off.
Oh yeah, the season 2 of the show is woke, and I'm like, did you watch season 1? Do you
Yeah,
know
I
what the
mean,
show's about? How can you? Yeah.
that yeah, I mean that transitions to like my other bad like just the blatant homophobia that this like show receives, and I like it's again what as Neil says. Did you not see season 1? Like did like or like because or even played the games.
And you
Like,
say
because
about me
like,
not picking up on stuff.
yeah, no, or played the games because like David, you can correct me here, but I'm pretty sure she's gay in the games as well. People saying like, oh, like the games, like dissing the games, Last of Us 2, and then like saying, oh, the show had this opportunity to correct it, and I'm just like, fuck
No,
off.
it reflects like the Dina relationship's all the same. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's what I've been seeing online. And like the comments, I mean, I've been screenshotting some of them and sending them to you, but my favorite one, like from just like someone who's clearly never been touched by a woman in their life, was when they like commented about like, oh, this show takes place in the apocalypse. They should be focusing on relationships that should be
Repopulation.
repopulating the earth.
Yes.
Instead, they're focusing on an unnatural relationship that can't repopulate. And you're like, Dina's fucking pregnant, man. Like it's just
Yeah.
your whole argument is non-void.
That's not how feelings work either.
Exactly, that's not how feelings work. And also, even if you're in an apocalypse, you can choose not to have kids. Like, get your head out of your ass.
Well, let's leave the basement dwellers in the basement. Now, another thing I didn't like, and there's more of them than I liked, sadly, this season, but I felt we didn't get enough from the introduction of the Seraphites and Jeffrey Wright's Isaac Dixon, the head of the WLF. Like, we were only given a glimpse of their story. Obviously, there's a lot more to come to it. And I think that's what they hint at in the Scar Island thing in the end when she gets captured. Because the reason they let it go is, oh no, something big's happening over there. Oh, we better run and leave her. Even though that little bastard kid was like, no, he made the sign to like, disembowel her. It's like, fuck you. He's another child, David, that deserves to die, just like the one with the piano in Final Destination.
For just that one action. That's it.
Just that one action.
Nothing,
Yeah,
they don't,
absolutely.
I hope you never have kids.
I'm not definitely going to teach him how to play piano on the top of a skyscraper, I'll tell you that much. But no, like, Jeffrey Wright is literally coming off. Didn't he win the Oscar for American Fiction? Best Supporting Actor. Or he was at least nominated for Best. I think he was nominated for Best Actor. And American Fiction won for Best Original Screenplay, I believe. But it was an amazing performance. So you've got an Oscar caliber performance here. And he has maybe 2 scenes in the show this season.
You'll see him more in season 2.
And I know we're going to have a lot more of that. But again, it really feels like The Walking Dead, where, and here's a faction over here, here's a faction over here, here's our characters in the middle.
I think I agree with you in that they didn't do a lot in setting up who the Washington Liberation Front are, and then who the Scars are as well, and then why they're even at battle and why you should care about it, because they were constantly saying it was happening, and they were constantly saying it was there, or like, oh, this is happening, and they were showing all of the conflict happening around Ellie and Dina, and
but that
there wasn't
not
a lot
make
of context
in a way
behind anything.
Sense, because like,
I suppose because you're seeing it through their point of view.
Exactly. Yeah. You're following them, and they have absolutely no clue what they actually just stumbled into, and it just shows how focused they are on their like, I mean, might get hate for saying misguided mission, but it just shows how much of their in their own world they are, that they didn't realize that they just stumbled into this massive conflict that's happening around them.
I think I know you'll find out more in the next season. Yeah.
And that's why you cast, like I said earlier, that's why you cast brilliant actors like Jeffrey Wright and Caitlin Dever in it as well.
He falls into the category of always playing a character that's gone through some shit. Like, because in Westworld, like, again, like...
Hunger Games?
Hunger Games. Can I just say, Hunger Games does not put it justice, because I just read Sunrise on the Reaping, and that character that he plays in the sequels, like what he goes through in his younger years, doesn't even, like, that character goes through some shit without spoiling it. Like, and he's not going to be playing him in the prequel because it's a younger version. But I was just like, holy shit! Like, every Jeffrey Wright character just gets put through the ringer.
He's one of those actors that could just almost dominate a scene by a look, it's just his presence alone.
But I do have a comment about one of their scenes, and it's the torture scene. It's the torture scene, the scene where we get penis, which I did also not appreciate just having that in my face. But what really bothered me in the scene is that they're in an apocalypse. Resources is scarce, and he has the stove on while he's monologuing. Do you know how much gas you're wasting in that moment?
Villains love to monologue.
It bothered me so much. I'm just like, conserve your gas. Like, it's a cast iron, it will get hot fast. Like, just don't turn it. It's not like it's like a hot plate that needs to be heated up. Like gas is instantly hot. Like just turn it off. It bothered me so much.
One thing that really, really bothered me as well was the gunshot cliffhanger before we got the day one scene. I like it felt like the really kind of cheap cliffhanger you'd get in a crappy soap opera where, oh, there's two people, there's a gunshot, we don't know who's been shot. Tune in next season to find out. If that had been the actual ending, I would have been really close to saying this show can fucking do one.
There's a better cliffhanger of that exact moment, literally 2 or 3 minutes later, where the game leaves it. Wait, does the game leave it there?
I mean, we've established your memory can't be trusted, David. So...
That's so true. I'm really bad. There's a better cliffhanger later on.
Okay.
Like a couple of seconds. Like, yeah.
But I was just like so angry. It was so cheap and cheesy. But at least when it then shows us Abby, and I was like, "Well, we're flashing back again," or is that happening now? And then when it says Seattle Day One, I was like, "Oh shit, yeah, it's going to be a flashback again." So that was like, okay, you've calmed me a bit now. But I hated that. I just hated that. Someone's been shot. Who shot Mr. Burns? It's basically that.
Yeah, I mean, this is like where my like anxiety spiked as well. Can I ask David, are the games concluded? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think there's there has an ending where there can be something if they want to explore it, but I don't think they will.
Okay, yeah. I also didn't realize there was such a big gap between game 1 and game 2. Like
games take a fuckload long time to make.
Yeah,
So this brings us to the what the fuck section. And let's be honest, there's only one scene we can talk about which probably gave almost everyone watching the show who hadn't played the game a what the fuck. And that is episode 2 when Joel gets killed horrifically.
I wasn't completely like freed from spoilers. So I knew Joel was gonna die, but because of the character's age, I generally thought, and I knew it was a time skip, I generally thought it was just like gonna be old age. Like I thought it was just gonna be like, because I didn't know how big the time skip was gonna be between the first season and the first and the second one, and I thought, this man goes through a lot of stress. Maybe his heart gives out, and that's how he like dies, and it will be somewhat peaceful. And boy, was I fucking wrong.
I thought you was going to say, although if they're going to do it, it'll be like towards the end of the season.
Yeah, that's what I also thought.
Episode 2.
Like, not episode 2, and not just like the fact that he died, just the violence. I mean, how he died. I mean, that was fucking brutal.
I've seen so many clubbing jokes and golf-related puns.
I appreciate that we didn't see all of it, and we saw more.
Enough.
We saw enough, but the fact, because like we didn't see him get beaten to death with the golf club. What we saw was the aftermath of the golf club all like wrecked and tangled on the floor. And just the sheer force that takes. Because golf clubs are actually quite sturdy. So the sheer force that takes to like mangle that golf club on flesh, it's just like, if you think about like the context behind it, like that is fucking brutal. And she didn't stop there.
I like to think it was a shit golf club, like a really cheap one from.
So it was just one whack and then.
Yeah.
That's your one solace about that scene.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I obviously knew it was coming, and it was a massive, contentious thing as well when it happened. How many years ago now? A few years ago.
I think it was 2020, wasn't it, that the second game came out?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it was a big issue then. That the decision to make for that to happen, like as the narrative decision to kill off the protagonist of the first season or the first game. I mean, it's a pretty fucking ballsy thing to do so early on.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially seeing as like the whole first season is built on that father-daughter relationship between Joel and Ellie. And I was like, where does the show go from here? And this is part of the character as well, the way they're playing it, that Ellie can be quite annoying sometimes, like most kids. And it's her relationship that Joel, at least for me in the season one, it kind of made her palatable. Now you fired back on David, and he was like, "But she's not.
She's
a kid
not
anymore.
a kid. She's 19 at this point.
19 is still a kid. I'm sorry, it is. The older you get,
What was I doing at 19? I was living alone, having pizzas for breakfast, and yeah, I didn't. Yeah, you're right.
you was a kid.
I was
was
a fucking
annoying.
disaster, to be honest. It's a miracle that I'm still alive.
Has anyone ever heard of the YouTube channel? Fuck, like Girlfriend Reviews. Girlfriend Reviews, the YouTube channel. Okay, it's a funny thing. Anyway, what I suggest people, if they're interested in the games or if they've seen the games, it's a lot of spoilers, is to watch the videos on The Last of Us, and you'll see the reaction that they get from the community, a specific community of The Last of Us game people that are just there to fucking hate on everything. There's a massive, quite passionate community in The Last of Us that are there just to slag it off, basically.
Seems like a waste of energy, man.
And it's quite, yeah, and not in a nice way. And I'm worried that they're going to come for us if by me just mentioning it.
This is where our popularity plays into favor here,
I know, that's
David.
good,
Not
yeah.
many people watch us, we're grand.
What I want to say to that, David, is that because it was their reaction to the way Joel was killed in the game.
I think it's a lot of things. But
So
that
it
is
wasn't
one
just
of them.
that inciting incident that made people go,
No,
no,
I
fuck
think
this show.
it's
There
one
was
of
more
the
to it.
incidents,
One
but
of
I
the
think
big
there's a
things.
lot of other things as
Because
well.
I suppose if you're like really big into a fandom of something and then they do something that absolutely fucks you off no end, then people who were fans, who then become the people who hate it, they really hate it. They really, really hate it. But I wonder how many people will be put off watching the show now because of the brutal way Joel was killed. This honestly reminded me of Walking Dead, the season when Negan turns up and the scene with what they do to Glenn. And it had that same kind of... And Walking Dead took years to recover after that. Like, the viewing figures just went... Pew. They changed showrunners, everything after that, because it was such a brutal death for a key character. And people just... No, I'm out. I don't want to see that.
I mean, what I understand from The Walking Dead, it was kind of like needless violence. It was because like it didn't really make narrative sense. Whereas here,
The writing did drop off at the same point as that moment in
Yeah.
The Walking Dead.
whereas here, I mean, it was a shock, and it was like a "Daddy is leaving us" moment but it's still like narratively like makes sense, like because they set this up at the end of season 1 that like Joel made a decision that will basically haunt him and for the rest of his life, and that haunting became literal in the form of Abby, where he knew he didn't, because in his mind he didn't make a mistake. Like I don't think he ever regretted that decision to save Ellie, and in my opinion he had a point, because they like first take blood samples, don't cut out someone's brain immediately. Like there's honestly there like that
I just say,
cure
if
could
I'm
have
going to make a
failed.
cure, I'm going to cut someone's brain off straight away, okay? I'm not
Exactly.
gonna...
Like first run tests. Like the cure could have failed. Like I honestly am with Joel on this. Like he made the right decision.
But then he did go murder, murder, kill, kill, kill on everyone.
Well, yeah, because he had to cover the
Eternal
evidence.
instincts, Neil.
Paternal instincts, exactly. But so
Paternal instincts.
and then of course the violence of his death, the way, like how brutal it was, but then still like I'm not saying karma, but like Joel is a violent person. Like he is a man of violence. So to have that violence he inflicted on others basically come to him, like, yeah, it did make sense, even though how brutal it was.
Did the moment Joel's death hit you as like properly hit you? Because obviously I knew it was coming. I was watching my wife because I knew it was coming, so I wanted to see her reaction. And she sort of just didn't react to it. She was just sort of like, okay, he's dead now.
Don't forget what your wife does for a living.
And I was kind of like, are you okay? You know, like, did this just not have that same impact as the game? Because I was fucking distraught.
It did hit me. I actually did record my reaction, so like Neil can insert like a little like clip of me basically
Do it.
going, "Gah!" My phone died at that very moment as well, so I was a little pissed off as well. But to be honest, like there's plot armor, and there's that one moment where like Ellie is telling him to get up, where you generally think he's gonna get up. Like there is that one moment where you think like he might pull a Joel and come back. But what actually hit me more was the following episode where they animated him out of the intro, the fucking bastards.
I didn't even spot that.
Yeah.
Because it's him and Ellie walking, and then it's just her on her own, and that was just like rubbing salt in the wound, guys. Seriously.
And that's why the show's called The Last of Us. Now, David, your what the fuck moment?
Yeah, so mine was Jesse's death. For me, it is almost as shocking as Joel's in just how quick it happens. The dude was perfectly fine. He's having a conversation like you and me are having a conversation right now. He just goes through a door.
But he had the "I'm about to die" conversation.
Oh my god! I got something to live for.
Yeah,
exactly.
That annoyed me as well, to be honest. It did annoy me.
You all know it's coming. Like it's I mean, we can't even fault the writers here because every single writer does.
I'm a father now.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're cool.
We're cool. We're cool.
Oh,
we're
fuck.
happy.
Does that mean I'm gonna die?
Oh no, we're cool. We're friends now. Like I'm happy. Like things are looking up. Like that's like the I'm 2 days away from retirement thing.
Yeah.
Like it's like we all like just
had one last case.
Exactly. Like it's that moment where we just went, oh fuck, something's about to go wrong. I still
didn't like
5 minutes left.
The thing with Jesse is as well, like he was in the earlier episodes, he's kind of a bit of a goody two shoes and a bit of a fun sponge, isn't he? He's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, you're Mr. Boring, and which is why Dina obviously, goes off him a little bit and runs off with Ellie.
That's harsh, calling him Mr. Boring. I think
he's
Mr. Reasonable. I like people with logic, Neil.
He's pragmatic.
Pragmatic, Marie, exactly. Mr. Pragmatic.
My next point literally was the dude is a freaking saint. Like he is a stand-up dude who does the right thing at every point he's on screen. So of course he's going to get killed in the finale. And also, how the fuck does he just walks into the middle of a supposed heavily fortified city and find them? That for me was just like.
They do explain that.
Yeah, do explain that, yeah.
Was and it also because I don't remember it.
Yeah, and also he's the one who taught Dina, so he knows how she thinks.
Okay.
So that's like how he was able to track them down. Like, no, they do explain that. And also the two of them weren't that subtle. Like, I mean, they left the horse in a record store. They were loud. They were banging about. Like,
I'm so glad that they left the horse. The horse doesn't make it in the games, guys.
David, why did you tell me this? Now I'm going to be scared for season 3.
It gets hit by a landmine. I think some sort of mine.
You mean it stands on the landmine?
I'm pretty sure that happens.
Someone's not throwing a landmine at the horse.
I don't think that's a spoiler.
I can handle human death. I cannot handle animal death. Like, just protect that horse.
If there's a dog in a film or show, the first thing I want to know is that dog going to be okay?
Oh yeah, I Google it. I always Google it. Like, is the cat gonna survive?
So I'm just checking on the cat out the window. It's fine.
Jesse's death. It was so quick, and I liked how quite realistic that was. Yeah, just go through the door, bam, done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no like drawn out thing. There's no. I mean, you're saying like the whole conversation beforehand, and I get that.
Also, you had you had the shocking death in episode 2, but you can't really end a season on HBO without having another shocking death. I think that's in the HBO contract.
They moved away from has to have nudity to no, it has to have a death now.
Yeah,
it is like shot for shot as well. Like some things they kept really similar to the game, and it's like nearly shot for shot with the cutscene.
Oh wait, he dies in the game as well.
Yeah, same way, literally shot for shot, same moment, same time, same way.
Oh,
yeah.
So then why were you shocked that he died in the show?
I wasn't shocked because, like I said, I was watching Natasha to see. Oh wait, no, I said that I was watching her for this one as well.
Mate, so you were annoying to watch the show with.
Shocking, I was quite, yeah. But I was still like, it just got it. I don't know. I liked Jesse.
They did so much in the little he had in those last couple of episodes when he finally finds him back in Seattle. I was like, okay, yeah, stop being idiots and go with this guy.
I liked him before that as well. I
No,
like...
he fun sponge before that. Fun sponge. Just see the fun sponge. So right,
Neil,
so
you made a joke about Jose dying, but I feel like you would die in the apocalypse as well. Like someone was trying to be reasonable, and you would oh, he's just a fun sponge.
Who would last the longest?
well, I mean, we'd shoot off to our nearest castles, wouldn't we? Because that's how you survive a zombie apocalypse.
I'd go down the road. Literally down the road from me. There's an armed guard and a ringed fence.
I don't have a plan for Portugal, but in Dublin it would have been Belfast because of you English, Belfast still has walls. So it's a fortified city. That's that's
David,
just,
there is nothing we can say here. Just move on.
There's an army camp down there. I'm fine.
we have Dover Castle, and I know my way around the basements there because of a show I did there once.
That's the thing. I think I could survive with traditional slow zombies, but I don't think I could survive with the cordyceps zombies because I fucking hate exercise.
My cardio's
Also-
not that good.
But also, how
Zombieland.
most people got infected was by like wheat products, and you guys know how much pancakes and cake and stuff like that I eat. I would be patient zero.
Yeah.
Another what the fuck moment was basically David gaslighting me into thinking everything was okay during the
remember the
final
text.
episode. You motherfucker! Because we've seen David's side during the quizzes. But
Oh.
I genuinely thought, because he put me at ease, I think it was like during when Ellie was on the boat, where I literally had to like take a break. And I was like, I cannot handle this. My blood pressure is through the roof. So I messaged the group chat, and David fucking lied to me and said everything was gonna be okay. And then like a few scenes later, yeah, we talked about Ellie like practically like not an inconvenience at all. Ellie gets off the island no problem. But then the next fucking scene, she kills two people with one shot, and one of them is a pregnant lady. That was fucking traumatizing, man.
So 3 people, really.
I just wanted you to have a moment of calm and happiness beforehand.
That's
Before
not the
I
show
got-
for it.
Yeah, before I basically like had my
I wanted you to think it was okay.
and like I'm so happy they
I'm
did not
sorry.
do this, but I genuinely thought the show would have like end with a C-section. Like that scene was just so fucking brutal, and at that point I think I was behind my sofa, unable to watch it.
And then I was thinking, if they do that, we're going to get Zack Snyder's Zombie Baby, which they have done before. It did
Oh.
not go well for anyone.
Yeah, I was sort of thinking that she might try the old take the knife. But how she was talking, like, is it out yet? Like, is it okay? I was like, oh, fuck it out, man.
It was, and again, it was brutal, and I thought I was gonna be okay. You psychopath.
Okay, then.
I'm sorry.
Moving on from David the Gaslighter.
You were okay up until that point.
Do you know what was really funny, though? I was half an hour behind Marie watching that. So I'm seeing it all kick off in the group chat when I'm looking down occasionally. And I was just like, oh, wait, what is coming up now? What has made Marie go so mental at David?
It's the fact that he lied. I like, he's worse than Joel. He lied straight to my fucking face. He did exactly what Joel did to Ellie.
Marie,
He lied to my fucking face.
if I could go back to that moment and do it all again,
You still would.
I still would.
So, moving on, before this gets any more heated, after I actually listened to a podcast with the creators of the show and from Empire Magazine a little while ago, and quite a few of them said that in the game, when you switch to Abby's POV, some of them who've been playing it literally had to put the controller down because it sickened them that they'd have to play as Abby. And now knowing, as they confirmed here, that season 3 is largely going to be from Abby's POV, I wonder how that's going to play with the audience of the show.
I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think
No?
I think, like I'd already said, I think if anything, Ellie is the bad guy. I mean, there is no good and bad. Like, it's a very grey.
Yeah.
But if anything, Ellie is the villain. Joel is the villain. Joel's a villain. Joel's not a good guy.
They're all
I feel like
villains.
that's very much like
Except Jesse.
like,
Jesse was a
you know,
saint.
Joel's got principles. And Joel like would save what he's love. If it was flipped and Abby killed Ellie, fuck me, Joel would send an army. He'd send a tank. There would be nothing stopping him
Oh no, Abby wouldn't have survived.
from
Like,
killing. Yeah, there's no chance that Joel would not kill Abby. But
No, Joel's not a hero, and that's been like
Yeah,
clear
that's
from
it. Yeah, that's
season
what I'm saying.
one.
Yeah,
Like
Joel.
it's yeah.
He's a bad guy. Everyone's a bad guy, right? And I think the show actually did a very good.
Except
I think the show did a
Jesse.
decent job in season 2 of showing that Abby is justified in her actions. So I don't think it's going to be the sickening thing. I think it's going to be a to understand her more as a character, to understand her motivations.
Sorry, I don't think any of them are justified. I mean, eye for an eye bullshit. I mean, I've never been for that kind of shit.
Justification's very grey area as well in itself.
Exactly, but
I think it's going to be very interesting to see how Abby's story is conveyed and how I assume her and Ellie's story are going to mirror each other, right? That's what they're going to have to, that's what they're going to be setting up. You're going to see scenes, and this is just pure speculation here from me. I'm guessing you're going to have scenes where you see like Abby and her dad, and I bet her dad's a super great guy and he's really nice and all that kind of stuff. And to take it from
Joel killed him, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. I was just checking. Okay,
no, but
that. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That was. This is before all that, right? So now in wrestling parlance, I think what we're going to get is a double turn, and this is what they're kind of going for. Where at the and this is what the people connected with the show said. They was like, if we've got it right, then, and I'm paraphrasing, by the end of the season, you'll actually want Abby to kill Ellie. If we've done our job, is basically what they said. So that's what we could be in for.
So in the build up to this, we already know what Ellie has done.
yeah.
So to Abby's friend. So we already know, and it's just Abby pretty much discovering it.
But here's the thing: how many of the audience do you think they'll lose coming back to watch a season with two queer main characters and no Pedro Pascal?
I mean, if people have issues with it, they're fucking snowflakes. I mean, it's a TV show, and it's if you don't like things
It's funny.
changing.
You calling the woke people no, because woke people say like we're snowflakes or whatever. And it's funny. You
The anti-woke
I love
people.
it. I love it. Yeah. I don't know what I'm saying.
She's reclaimed it.
But you've reclaimed it and you've used it on them.
Yeah, I mean, it's true. I mean, if you want, watch shows that where nothing fucking changes for like seasons on seasons, watch anything from the 90s. Like it's like
EastEnders is good for that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good for nothing, David. It's good for nothing.
Walking Dead, to be honest, is probably like that as well. So like that's the thing. Guys, you've got free will. If you don't like it, like, turn it off and move fucking on. Like, it's just, don't be a fucking baby about it.
Yes. David, what was your reaction in the game when you switched to Abby's storyline?
I don't think I had one. I think it was, oh, cool, we're gonna play as Abby now. Awesome. I think it was more like that. It wasn't a, oh my god, it wasn't like that.
Thumbnail. Okay, let's round it off then, guys. So, I want from each of you a score out of 5, and do you recommend this series? Marie, I think I know that it's definitely a recommendation, but I'm wondering what your score is.
I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 5. I don't think it was a perfect season of television, but it was still a really fucking good one, and I love that show, and I appreciate the show basically, for me, transcending genres. Like, normally this wouldn't have been something I would pick up, but because of the reviews of season 1 and just the hype around it, I checked it out, and now it's like one of my favorite shows, and I kind of regret that because I think I would be far happier and far less emotionally traumatized if I didn't watch this show, but it is what it is. But yeah, I still highly recommend the show, and I also recommend the show for non-horror fans and for people who don't like the zombie genre to check it out.
David?
Yeah, I echo what Marie said. 4 stars for me as well. I think season 1 was like a 4.55, and this is a 4. And 100% watch the show. It's one of the best TV shows on at the moment.
I was struggling between giving this a 3 or a 4, actually. I was a little bit lower on it.
If only there was something in between a 3 and a 4.
Maybe a 3.5.
You are not giving The Last of Us a 3.5. That is mediocre. That is a mediocre score. This was not a... No, I refuse.
Mediocre is 2.5.
I'm going to go on Neil's letterbox and see what he's given as a 3.5 to say that this is uncomparable with that.
But this is a TV show, not a film, and therefore different things apply. Look, overall I feel it's not as strong as the first season, and I think the loss of Joel going forward is going to be massively felt. I think it had pacing issues and a horrible, horrible cliffhanger that was only slightly redeemed by this is what we're going to be doing next season. And I just really think the show's going to have its work cut out to get us on side with where the show's going to go in this third series. And this is the biggest thing for me is, whereas with season 1, it was, I have to watch this episode as soon as it is out immediately that day because of spoilers. This season, I didn't have that same need to watch it as soon as it came out. So that for me was kind of like, okay.
I was having this discussion, sorry, with
That sounds like a you problem.
But that discussion on like the need to watch a TV show, I haven't had that since Game of Thrones season 6. I haven't had a TV show.
Severance. We had to watch that as soon as humanly possible.
No, not for me. It wasn't.
David is not as online as you and me, Neil. I think
it wasn't.
Our
I
urgency
got to watch this like right now. I don't have that with a lot of TV shows anymore.
Because Joel's fucking death was spoiled for me right before I watched the episode because someone else fucking died the same day Joel did.
Like in real life, or
yeah, the fucking Pope. So there were all these memes of Joel and the Pope in heaven, and I was just like, "What the fuck is this?"
The fucking Pope.
Those two events overlapped.
Who'd have thought the Pope would have spoiled The Last of Us for
Exactly. JD Vance killed the Pope, and it spoiled The Last of Us for me. Like,
okay, well, there's a trailer clip then. Good God, who would have thought the Pope would have ruined The Last of Us? Right, that's all the time we have on this week's episode of the We Need Rose podcast. I'd like to thank my co-host, Marie. Marie, where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me under the handle...
mushroom.
Under the handle Life on Mars. That is TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. You can check out my other podcast, Two Girls, One Reasonable Cup. That's on wherever you get your podcasts. And you can check out my newest podcast endeavor, which is one that I was actually paid for, which is a podcast that's happening in my local area called the Wave Arabida podcast, where I make brief cameo appearances. If you're interested in what's happening in Portugal, go check that out.
And David, where can people find you on the socials?
They can find me at We Needed Roads on Instagram. And you can also find me on Blue Sky under Long D at Blue Sky.
Mm-hmm.
That's
just one of those things you can't change now, isn't it? Just one of those things you can't
probably
change.
can, but I you know what, Neil? I don't want to. I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah, I mean, when you can pick your own nickname.
Marie's reaction then. It was like a
visceral.
Yeah. No, yeah, Long D. I can't change it.
And you can find me at Needed Roads on Twitter, Neil Gregory78 on Instagram and Threads, and NeilG78 on Blue Sky. And for more We Needed Road shenanigans, you can find us on Spotify and also hopefully here on YouTube where you've been watching us and our full library of episodes. And if you like what you heard, hit that bell icon and subscribe because now we are uploading an absolute metric shit ton of content in a regular week. We've got reaction videos, we've got trailer reactions, we've got instant reactions as we walk out of the cinema having just seen something. Just in the last however many times before this podcast came out, we had Jose doing Friendship, a film that's not even out in the UK yet. I saw Dangerous Animals, which was a really cool serial killer film about a guy who feeds people to sharks.
I done Karate Kid Legends too. I want to throw that out there.
You want to throw it out there though, right?
Nah, not really. It's fine. I liked it.
I did a quick top 5 wholesome TV shows that you should. I did a quick top 5.
Not easy, is it?
I want to give it a try.
I just forgot the queer part because for me everything is gay. But David, go ahead.
Oh, okay. And Marie has done the top 5 wholesome queer TV shows that you need to watch. I did it! Was it wholesome or hot? Oh, did it get wholesome right? Or was
no, it was both. It was wholesome and I said wholesome in the video, heartwarming in the comment.
Okay, that was close.
And so, make sure to join us next time on your favourite plutonium-powered pop culture podcast. See you then.
We Needed Road.